What's up, boys? Okay, we'll begin in like 1 minute. Just let everyone get in here. You know the watch that I always wear, like I never take it off? It's not this one, but like I had the same one. The one that I wore like literally every day for like 2.5 years straight. That's come with me to every country, Thailand, the waterfalls, the Dubai, everything. It broke. We lost one of our own, boys. So I got a new one of like the exact same model. Yeah, it lasted a while. Casios really do bits. It lasted literally on my arm 24/7 for about 2 years, through close to 1,000 workouts, through waterfalls, oceans, all kinds of stuff. Got absolutely battered. Okay, let's begin. I'll take it a little bit slow, just whilst everyone's still joining in. So I just wanted to recap something that I thought was quite interesting, just to make sure that we have like all of our mindset right. Yeah. So there's 3 steps to making money, and this is credit to Alex Hormozi, who has come up with this idea, because before he had released his second book and mentioned what his third book was, this idea of like teaching a new person how to make money, it was quite vague, at least for me, when I was trying to help you guys for a long time, and even before Adonis school as well. Because you can think about it, it's such a hard topic to teach, isn't it? We're talking about how to make money, especially online as well. And so there's so many different things you can talk about in general. All of the entrepreneurs before this, like when you saw me and Eman, for example, we pretty much just like resulted in just kind of saying like, yeah, just do the same business model that we did to get successful. Okay, this is what you do. Here's how you do that business model. So every video that I made about making money before this, if you've watched any of them, I basically just said like, yeah, just be a YouTuber, because I didn't know anything else. But now that Alex Hormozi's, he released, just type 1 in the chat, who's been reading his book, the newest one? We got one guy, we got Paul. Okay, so not many of us. Okay, well, this is going to be quite fresh then for most guys. That's actually surprising, not many people. Has anyone read his previous book, Offers? Yeah, okay. So we're just not really onto the newest one, but some of us haven't either. Okay. So yeah, before this, it was kind of unclear in my mind of what it actually takes to make money. You know, I was thinking, okay, you got to grow the audience, make the product, whatever. But now it's actually in a very simple, like step-by-step framework. Really, step 1 is we create the offer. The offer is kind of like the product, but it's better than just making a normal product or package or whatever, right? So in real life, the product is, you know, the AirPods, for example. We're probably not going to get to that level. Like, you know what I mean? Not, at least not right now. We're not going to be making something which is in like the physical world. So a lot of the things that we're going to do are more products which are either online, which could be, you know, information, communities, or it could be like services. So products just mean it's like something that's there outside of you, and service means something that you do. So this is product, service. And the idea with his offers was that we put our offer on steroids, that instead of us saying that, you know, what they're buying is like the little training program. Like, if you follow like a fitness YouTuber, they've all got the same thing. They do like little training programs, which literally means it's a PDF where they've wrote like 10,000 words about like, here's how to train. And like, they've literally wrote the words of like, bench press, like 8 times 5, like. And most people who create offers like this stay broke, because this is a very poor offer. It's a very weak offer. It could have worked about 10 years ago, where you just kind of sell a product. These days, you don't really make much money if you just try and sell a product as like, someone who's growing online. What we want instead is like this offer that's been put on steroids. And that's what we've covered so far. That's also what is in the money full guide that's going out today. We make that massive problem list. You remember this, right? We make the massive problem list. We make the massive solution list. We package it all up so it's like the nice, attractive thing. And that's what we're actually selling. We even put like the scarcity. We put the urgency. We put the guarantees and the bonuses with that. And this becomes, all of this together becomes our offer. So when you see the differences, we're selling an offer, like where we have a package which has like 5 of these in. Never mind also the calls and the templates and the community and this and this and this and this and this. So soon it's like, it's hard to even call it like a training program or anything. So soon we don't sell it as like, yes, I'm selling this PDF file for $24, but rather we just sell that, okay, this is like my offer to your problem. We just sell the solution now. We sell like the dream results. This is just the thing that you sell. Like this is the product that you make. Everyone with me on this part, type 1 in the chat. Everyone understanding this. So it's a huge part of business or of just making money in general is just the offer. This is the huge part. Type W in the chat if you feel like your offer is quite strong right now. Like you know what you're going to offer and you think it's actually pretty phenomenal. Write W and write L if you don't really understand the offer, if you don't know what it's going to be. Okay, so it looks like most of us. So just as a heads up, this is actually what we're going to structure Adonis School now. Now that it's very clear in my mind that this is what we're going to do for you guys, is we're going to focus on these 3. The offer, the leads, and the sales, to make it super easy. The 3 steps to the business. I probably should have explained the other ones as well, but what we'll do is, so this is the offer, which I've just explained. Then the leads is the next step. So the offer is like kind of, we're creating the package that's actually worth a lot more money. I'd say about 10 times more than your competitors. So for example, Tate's program, Sneako's program is like 10 times cheaper than mine because I've been able to like put mine on steroids. Obviously, no disrespect to them at all, but just that's where we want to get you to, where you can price 10 times more, or at least double than what anyone else is pricing, because you've got a very strong package. You've got a very strong offer. We're going to have eventually lots of, we're going to have like courses and teachers and everything just for the offer. Then the leads is essentially getting people who are interested in buying what you've got. Essentially, we can say they are fans / followers who would buy it, who may buy it. So you guys are all customers. Just before you bought this, let's say before I ever announced it on a school, you would have been a lead. A lead isn't just like in the sort of old school business, especially for salesmen, they think leads is just like data. Like they see a phone number, they can consider that a lead. These days, that's not good enough. It's like a lead is no longer a phone number or an email, but it's like the person's email because they actually like you. Does that make sense? There's a slight difference. You probably have never even considered the previous version, but like leads used to be, like Octavian just wrote there, lead is someone you can contact. That was the old school version. Because if I gave you a random person's email, you wouldn't think that was useful, right? You wouldn't think like, oh boy, a lead, like I'm gonna like send them a message or something. What you want is, yeah, we can say it's warm leads is the only kind of lead that we're actually gonna talk about. A cold lead is someone whose data you've just gotten. It's just literally a phone number on your screen. Pretty much pointless. None of us, I don't think any of us really want that. I don't think any of us just want a random person's email address. But a warm lead is someone who's already interested. So we can just say it's like it's a fan of yours, for example. And hopefully you've been like cultivating the fan who, you know, would be potentially interested in the kind of offer that you do have. This is my area of expertise. I always called it different things, you know, growing an audience and everything. But really, like, the thing that I'm going to be teaching from now on is more about the leads. It's more about like essentially just getting the customers, like the actual, like the traffic. So Hormozy calls it leads. Expert Secrets, Russell Brunson, he called it traffic. I've always called it like audience. Depends which way you want to get it. And of course, there's different ones. You can get the, you could pay for ads and you can get some there. You can literally go pay some random scammer or something online to send you a list of 100,000 emails for like $5. Anyone think that's a good idea? Anyone think like, oh, well, I could just, you know, send an email out to hopefully a few hundred people and hopefully one of them would buy it? It's like the pure shock. That's like the 3 out of 10 midget guy you go on a night out with. He gets drunk and he starts speaking to like 50 girls at 100 girls, and he's like, in the end, you see him going home with like an absolute land whale. That's like that approach. You don't want to do that. You don't want to be that guy. So what you want is actually a warm lead. You want someone who's actually genuinely already interested in buying, or at least like they like you enough to consider it. These days, you really do buy things from people that you trust. So my area of expertise, you grow the audience, you get the subscribers, the followers, wherever. You get people who like you, who trust you. And when you do mention the product to them, the conversion rate's much higher. So this is the thing that I've been quite great at. The other two, so offer and sales, is actually something I've pretty much never. I mean, I've created an offer myself as well, like at the Adonis School originally, and with my previous courses. But I'm nowhere near, like, I wouldn't even say I'm close to being great at the offer or the sales. Sales is the actual persuasion. It's the convincing of someone to buy your offer. It's essentially you're persuading the lead to buy your offer. Different ways of sales, of course. There's the sales website, like you've seen, the funnels. There's the sales calls, emails. I think mostly what we'll be teaching is the website and the calls inside of Adonis School. We're going to think about this. But I do think if we can just get you to becoming even moderately decent salesman on a video call, like, someone from your audience books in, I think you'll make money faster. This is something I'm just speaking to Victor about, just so we can debate it for you guys. If you would have the confidence, or, at least the growth mindset to think, okay, it's kind of scary that someone would book a call with me and I'm going to try and sell them to my package. It's going to require more work from you compared to just having a website that sells automatically. But you will make more money and you'll make it quicker this way. It's just that it'll require more from you, and there's another skill that you would learn, which WRL, like, would we be happy with that? Are we young men who are willing to work hard and develop skills that would make us a fuck ton of money? Or do we want passive income and we want to, like, sit back and relax? Yeah, that's what I thought. I think that's the better way. When I first started, I chased like the passive income, like the slower sale, and my income or my profit didn't rise much at all, especially at the first little bits, like the first year. If I took the sales calls instead, I would have instantly been making a few thousand a month, and that really could have helped at the beginning. Plus, it's an awesome skill. I actually think you do this. I mean, there's going to be some people who aren't for sales at all, certainly, and for them we'll maybe teach them how to set up the website and stuff. But I actually think for a lot of you, you set up this process, you take your first few sales calls. After that, you're going to be like a crack addict. I think you'll actually start to really enjoy it. A lot of guys do. I believe that our population is going to be more sales orientated, because you can imagine you need a certain kind of personality and mindset for it. You're getting rejected and everything. I can imagine our community here is going to be more likely to be salesmen than not, because we've developed those traits like masculinity, repetition, volume. How many when you think about it, how many reps of a chest exercise have you done so far in your life? Probably a few thousand, just to get a few more millimeters on your pecs. So if it works out that every sales call that you take is the equivalent to about $20, how does that make you feel? Do you want to smash out the sales calls fast? So I think this is an awesome skill to learn. So this will be, again, we're going to think about getting another teacher for this. So this means that my role is mostly just going to be teaching you how to get leads. This is what I'm going to double down on. And of course, I'm going to teach you mostly about YouTube, but I do want it to be general enough that there's, in case anyone else has got like a different social media they want to grow on, the principles will still be the same. Just type in the chat, what social media are most of you thinking about? What's your main social media that you want to be posting to? Yeah, pretty much YouTube. Little bit. I'll do a poll on this so we can see some data, but it seems like mostly, I could imagine YouTube would be like 90%, maybe about 80%. And yeah, TikTok, Twitter are the only other ones as well. Same concept will still apply. So if you remember from the previous lessons that we've had, where I said that essentially, okay, to get leads, we understand what leads are, right? Leads are just people who are like interested in the thing that you're going to sell. We can say it's pretty much just like a fan, right? So we can even change this to just audience, subscribers, whatever. Specifically, I would actually, you know what? I just want to make this definition clear. I wouldn't even say that the lead is like the audience or the fan or anything. We specifically want to be getting the lead there's a difference because, for example, there's subscribers, there's leads. I always say this. I don't think there's any point ever thinking about subscribers. It just doesn't serve you at all to think about it. There's many channels out there that have got 1 million subscribers and they literally get like 5K views. When you think about it, that wasn't what you wanted, right? And there's many channels that have, let's say, 700K subscribers and they actually get like loads of views, but they actually get genuinely like no leads. Like their people are not interested in buying their products. And so these YouTubers work super hard. They've got awesome numbers that everyone else can see that, you know, makes them feel kind of good and popular, but they don't actually make any money. Most influencers are fucking broke. Is that what we want? So it was never about the subscribers. If we're actually being honest, it might hurt your ego a little bit because, like, you know, having a huge amount of subscribers looks cool on YouTube. You get to tell people you've got 2 million and stuff. That looks cool. But I'd ask you, just tell me, which one would you rather want? Would you rather want 1 million subscribers but you're still broke, or 10,000 subscribers and you make more money than you could possibly know what to do with? Which one would you rather have? Yeah. Good choice. Very good choice. So just be careful. We're not going to be saying the term like growing your audience. We're not going to be saying the term subscribers. I want to make this super clear because I do see that many people, they've got this huge obsession with these social media metrics because these are the numbers that unfortunately the social media companies put in front of your face every time you go onto the platform. All you see is subscribers, followers, everything. You know, so many girls who are addicted to Instagram and gaining followers, don't you? Anyone here try to do like follower for follower, sub for sub? Anyone did that when they were a kid on like Instagram and shit? I used to do that on my old YouTube on like about 10 years ago. You used to be able to just search like S4S on YouTube and you'd just write one comment and you'd get like 10 subscribers, and like it just destroys the purpose. It was never about the subscribe. It was never about that number just there on your profile. That does nothing. Like they're not even going to watch your videos. And even if they do, for example, if you've got the 700K subs who even watch your videos, sure, you make quite a lot in AdSense, which is nice. But you can make a lot more money if you do this the right way and you actually think about getting these warm leads. This is really what we want. So the warm lead is just pure interest. He's interested in buying your thing. So I actually want to just redefine our mindset with this, because just gaining the audience size makes us feel good, but it doesn't actually reflect us making more money and achieving like the financial freedom we need to be able to move on to the next level of our development as men. In fact, actually, just focusing on these numbers, this growth, actually makes you more stuck. It makes you weaker. Because then you just become like a crack addict for the subscriber, don't you? You see this with many people, including myself for a long time. It's just like your sense of self-worth just comes from this. That's not what you want. What we want, instead of just getting as much growth as possible, but then realizing that you're surrounded by like broke people who can't even afford your product or who don't want to buy it, we'd like any level of growth, but the real number that we're basing the success of our business is actually just like the cash or the profit. And where this comes from, it is the warm lead. It's someone who not only are they actually like, do they like you, kind of like how a subscriber would, but actually they've got, for example, they've got the money to be able to buy. They've got the interest, not just in you, but in the offer that you do have. They've got maybe that's just it. Maybe it's just money and the interest. Yeah, this is probably it. You know, if you gain the subscribers, but if you gain the subscribers with these that don't actually have, like, for example, the interest in your offer, or it's like it won't be like 0 or 1. You know, it won't be binary. It'll be more that you could gain a faster audience by appealing to like a slightly different kind of person. But then you're just chasing like subscribers instead of chasing or trying to develop like your actual business. It's just the mistake to watch out for. So once you get to the offer, it'd be valuable if you did have this ASAP. So we will look to help you develop this. Just type 1 in the chat if you feel like you've got a decent offer again. Let me just see how many of us have got there. Okay, not many of us at all. Okay. Once we do have this, this will actually structure how we're going to get the lead or what we're actually going to do for it. So this is something that I'm implementing now, which I wish if I could go back in time, it would have been very powerful for me to start with this. When you start with your offer and you know like the thing that you could sell, you know the package you could make, you know the solution to the problem that you actually have accomplished yourself, that's when you can almost reverse engineer and start to think of yourself as like, what is the perfect lead? Because we don't just want the subscribers. We want kind of like the perfect lead. So how this looks, this is something we're doing right now. Myself and my team now, we're doing like surveys and interviews. We're trying to figure out who out of you guys, like out of the Adonis School students, is the most ideal student that we want more of. So for example, who's very active, who's staying in the longest, who's essentially giving us the most money, but also who's contributing, who's nice to work with. Now we're going to get to know these guys. Now, just type 1 in the chat. Who's heard of me speak about the dream avatar and understands that concept of the dream avatar? Yeah, a fair amount of us. Like the buyer persona. It's like the character that we're keeping in our mind to help us speak and sort of address the kind of person that we want to sell to or even make the videos for. This is what we're creating right now. Once you have an idea of your offer, you'll be able to reverse engineer who it would be great for to make that sort of perfect avatar for the offer. But then this will be your focus for your YouTube, for example, for your social media. So this is slightly different from the advice I've given previously. Previously, all I did was, my skill was literally just getting the leads, but I didn't know what they were for. My skill was just getting like subscribers, but I didn't even understand the concept of offer and sales. Now that I understand all this, it's like I would go about it in a different way, which for every guy who's wrote down that they're doing YouTube, this is very relevant for you, but even for the TikTok guys, we don't just want to get random fans. We don't just want to get random subscribers. We specifically want to attract the kind of people who would buy your offer. That's who our dream avatar becomes. So we start with the offer, which we've described. You know, it's like the package we're going to sell. It's the solutions, the problems. We'll go more into detail with this. You can go watch the first 1 or 2 hours of this money series, and also the money full guide that's coming out in about 2 hours. When we start with the package, then we talk about, like, you know, the target market. We talk about their pain points and everything. It's really now our job is to get the leads of people who would probably buy this. So it was just like a mistake that I made first, where like I started with the leads without really knowing what leads were. Then I moved on to the offer, and I've been trying to make our current leads fit into the offer. Is this making sense? Can you see the problem that like we've got? It's not really a huge problem, but it's just like a rephrase. Just let me know in the chat. Is this making sense? You can see the problem I made and the problem we're trying to help you to fix. I started just by attracting any subscribers possible. Then we made the offer. Then we were trying to like sell those original people the offer that we have to try and get the sales. What we need to do is actually, if we start with the offer, then that constructs the kind of leads that we're trying to attract, the kind of audience that we want. That then gets us the sales. It's very important that we go 1, 2, 3. That was just a mindset that I've just had, like a realization I just had recently. I went sort of, let's say, YouTube first, or audience first, subscriber first. And I see actually other YouTubers who make about the same as me, but they have an audience of 100K and I have 2 million. It's crazy when you think about it. There's people who have 100K, even 50K, 200K subscribers, and we both make about the same amount of money because of this one mistake that I made. Imagine if I started in the right way first, with the offer first. This is why, you know, how many of you are wondering this? Type 1 in the chat, like, at what point should you make your offer or your product, or when should you start to sell? I've been asked quite often, like, how many subscribers should you have before you try and start selling? Type 1 in the chat if anyone's wondering that. I'm surprised it's quite a common topic to ask about. This is why, in my opinion, it might be valuable for you to start as early as possible so that you actually get an idea of what that offer could be. You start with that. Like, if you're trying to delay right now, for all these guys type in 1, but you're still posting some social media content, right? So it's like you're actually focusing on the lead first before the offer. So you're attracting people who might not even be interested in the offer that you've got, which is essentially, it's just wasted effort. So when I think about all the effort in terms of, like, you know, monetary, like making money, when I think of all the effort that I've put in to get to 2 million subscribers, honestly, about 80% of that would have been wasted. All that effort, about 80% of it wasted in terms of making money because I didn't start with the offer first. That's huge, right? That's probably over a year of my life from this one mistake that I started with the lead first, but I started just by posting the content and then making the product afterwards. So I'd ask you right now, I'll help you with the offer just slightly. What could be the topic of your offer? What is a problem that you have solved in your life? So, for example, I'll tell you my history. I quit video games. I attracted women. Or like problem/accomplishments, just to like write them down just so we can get an idea. I built muscle. And then I got money. Porn addiction. Growing your business, overstimulation, built a stronger mind. Go ahead and type this in chat. What's like a problem that you've solved? What's an accomplishment that you have? Kind of like you've seen these ones. I can add like quitting porn as well, let's say. What if the problem you solve in your offer isn't related to the things you have solved in your life, Adrian? It can be that way. I would be interested to like, what is your offer and what have you solved? Because in general, like you let me know, are you getting great results with that? Have you gotten customers whose lives have changed with your work? Because in general, if you haven't solved the problem yourself, you're probably not going to be that great at solving it for someone else. This is my issue with this, the modern business, which is very popular, is like agency marketing and stuff. I don't think it's that great to go and market towards like chiropractors and help them scale when you've never done it yourself. So we've got some great ideas here. So someone stopped being soft. Oh, that's Dennis. We've stopped being soft. Vance got good grades. Asylum boy got higher purpose. Planning my life, getting out of the trenches. Nice. Now, you can see here that there's an unfortunate, almost sad step. For you to create the offer, you kind of have to go and do something in real life, don't you? Kind of upsetting for many young guys. It's like, oh, damn, I actually need to be like a capable man who's actually done something in life instead of just wasted his life playing video games and porn. It's so crazy why I can't make money. Yeah, because you haven't really done anything that anyone else cares about. Sounds mean, but it's the truth. Do you deserve to make money when you've spent the last 10 years watching porn? Hurts to hear, but it is the truth, right? So for anyone, just be totally honest. Just type 1 in the chat if you didn't answer that previous question with the accomplishments there, because you can't even think of any good accomplishments that you've had. Nothing of like significance. Just type 1 in the chat and just be totally honest with that. Because for a long time, I would have had to type 1 here. So even, you know what? Maybe this is actually the sales process. So we say, okay, there's offers, then the leads, then the sales. For everyone who just typed 1, then step 0 is like, go and get some kind of accomplishments. Go and do something. This is like where the self-improvement comes in. This is, for example, all of my YouTube videos. This is what it helps you with, where I teach you how to get into, mental health and how to get girls and everything, how to build muscle to the point that you've got some kind of accomplishments. That's what will create the offer. So if you've typed 1 there, or if you were scared to type 1, just bear in mind, if you're really struggling with the offer and you're trying to think, what can I help people with? And you really feel like you've genuinely not really done much in life. And that's not coming from like a lack of, that's not coming from like low self-image. Because some people feel like, oh, I've done nothing in my life. And then here they are with like a 6-pack, Mr. Bodybuilding Olympia, 3 times world medal or some shit. Some people just have like really poor self-esteem. So they feel like they've done nothing with their lives. But if you're actually being honest and you're like, yeah, I actually haven't. I've played video games all my life. That's it. And I've not even quit playing them yet. So I can't even say quitting them. Then step 0 is accomplishment. Just go and do the self-improvement stuff for that. And we've got a lot of stuff in Adonis School for that as well. It could be as simple as, for example, learning how to work and be productive. It could be learning how to like text girls. It could be just stopping the bad things that you're doing, like you're quitting porn, video games, sugar. These are all huge accomplishments that 90% of people would dream of. So Ben said, I have that problem. I quit porn, gone to the gym for 3 years straight, quit junk food, meditate, cold showers, no alcohol. I feel like it isn't crazy to do those things. You're right, it's not crazy to do those things, but who said that it needs to be crazy to make money? In fact, if everyone looks at the chat right now and see what Ben wrote there, is it just me who's thinking like, well, those are actually the problems that were the most profitable in the world? So, you don't have to do the crazy thing, but if, for example, you've quit video games, which in itself is kind of crazy. Just quitting video games is a multi-million-dollar industry. Porn as well, exact same thing. It doesn't feel like anything outrageous. But then when you think about it, what Ben wrote is like, Ben, I started my channel with less than that. And I was able to gain the audience and make money. So don't think about it as like, oh, how crazy are the accomplishments that I have. Just think about it as like, how much sort of depth did I gain in knowledge in the sort of mundane things that I was trying to accomplish. You're seeing it every day. There's a guy who makes like a nofap channel who pops off 10k, 20k. You see this every single day now, don't you? Quitting porn doesn't sound like totally crazy until you really look at it and you're like, wait, actually it kind of is, with all these software developers and how much of a primal desire that is that you've got to conquer. So I'd ask you again, for everyone, to type in the chat, what are some mundane things that you've accomplished? Maybe it's quitting a bad habit. Which bad habit was it? Maybe it's getting consistent into a good habit. Write one thing at least in the chat right now, everyone. Just even if, no matter how small it seems. You know how silly it seems? You could literally say, like, getting consistent in brushing my teeth. And there's literally a market for that. Almost nothing is too small right now. Getting consistent in the gym. Becoming knowledgeable. Cold showers. Okay, so Dennis said he's got consistent in cold showers. That's something that's kind of relatable for us, right? Whether it's cold showers you've got into yourself or, you know, some kind of hard discipline activity, right? You got into cold showers, that can be a part of your offer. That could be like the main part of your offer is like, you're going to help people with it. Now, Dennis knows more about cold showers than 99% of people in the planet. I don't even need to know who he is. It's just the case. Anyone here who goes to the gym more than a few times a week, you know more about exercising than about 99% of people in the planet. The good way, someone said this once as a comment on Reddit or something. They said, imagine you walk into a Walmart. What do you know more than everyone in there about? Now you're talking, right? Dennis walks into a Walmart. He knows more about cold showers than everyone in there. For most of the guys listening to this, you know more than everyone in here about gym, exercise. How many grams of protein should you eat a day to maximize muscle building? What's the rule? Type in the chat. There you go, Ben. That's profit for you. You can make money from this. You know more than all of the people in Walmart right now. Notice how, like, you know, and Derek especially, like, okay, I can tell, Derek, you've actually seen the real study, right? So it's like, Derek, you know more than even everyone else who's in Walmart. Yeah, and Zoom user has just said it perfectly. You might think you don't really have these accomplishments that you could create into your offer because you're looking at everyone else on social media and you're seeing that, you know, there's a guy who's got more abs than you. There's someone who's more intelligent, and there's a guy who's got a business that's making like more money than yours, so you can't teach it. What I would ask you is, don't try to, like, you know, don't think, well, Hamza's doing YouTube or self-improvement, so I can't do it. Your question should just be, can you help your younger self? Type 1 in the chat. Could you help your younger self with one area right now? You'd know how to get him faster results, right? Probably better than anyone else in the entire world, right? How much time could you save your younger self? How much headache? Now that you know the experience, how much could you save him? How much is years of his life, of his youth worth? Put a number on that. How much is years of your youth worth? When you're a billionaire, how much would you pay to save a few years of your few billion? All the money in the fucking world? Billions. So I think we need a little bit more confidence. If you feel like you could save your younger self a year of his life or years of his life because he was making stupid choices. For example, for me, I spent over 10,000 hours playing video games, leveling up my character in like the virtual world. That's the equivalent of like 4 years of full-time work, for example. I think it is something like that, right? I could have saved about, not only, let's say, just the pure 10,000 hours, which in itself, just at minimum wage, what is that? 80, that's like 80,000? 80K? But also the positive feedback loop and the sort of compound effect of that would have saved me even more time, because if I could have saved that time and started earlier, I would have saved even more and made even more money. So Dennis said, the problem is that you need to convince the person you're going to help save him so many years. So that's the sales. That's the third step. Other personal trainers might be better at convincing because they simply look better. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the skill of sales right there. That's just the skill that we need to level up. That's it. So I wouldn't have any kind of sad emotions right now thinking like, oh, you know, this makes sense, but I'd have to convince someone and no one would believe me. Reframe that emotion and that mindset and just think to yourself, okay, so I just need to learn the skill of sales. Okay, so I'll take the course, I'll learn from the teacher, I'll read the books, I'll implement, I'll practice. Just like I built a bigger chest in the gym. It's just the skill that we need to learn. We shouldn't be sat here thinking, oh man, but there's a problem coming up. It's like, okay, well, let's get amazing at this skill. Yeah, Jan, that's a great idea. That's like a future projection. So you'd be surprised for all the guys who are here. Let me bring you back onto the screen. Yeah, for all the guys who are here, you'd be surprised that you've actually got a lot more to make money from than you believe. I do see this. I said this on the video that's going live today. If you're interested in this topic, like for everyone here who's been listening for like the last 40 minutes, you really will like the video that goes live today. It's like 4.5 hours of me talking about this and also what to buy with your money and how to make the money in a lot more detail, how to make the offer, how to set up the sales call, everything like that, right? And there's a part where I started ranting and I said, if you believe like you're not going to be able to make the money or that you can't charge high prices, then you're right. If you think you can't get girls because you are insert whatever fucking insecurity excuse you've got here. Which ones do we have? Short, black, brown, broke. Then you won't get them. So I'm surprised that I see so many like fighting aged, these young men who should be strong but have this like weak mindset thinking, oh, not me. Nope. I couldn't sell my product. Nope. I'm too low leveled for this. So I'd address, like I said this in the video as well, the most important part of making more money and charging higher prices isn't anything in the real world, but really it's about your self-esteem, how much you like yourself and also your self-image, like what you think you are like. The issue is right now, this is where you actually are in life, but this is where you see yourself. There's this gap. This gap is here because there's like this delayed realization of the person that you are because of other people's words onto your mind. This happens because you have like a weak belief system. This is in the red pill. This was called frame. You have a weak frame of reality. Your frame of reality, your beliefs, your truth of the world is based too much on other people, which I don't blame you for, because that's what it's like when you don't feel like the alpha male of a society. Your beliefs are influenced by someone else. But these days, there's no excuse for that because the hacks are there right now. Right here, right now, you could close your eyes and make yourself feel better about yourself. You can choose to increase your testosterone and you can choose to destroy your depression and your insecurities. You can choose to. So you can choose to feel like you are worth the higher price, that your package, your offer is actually going to help people. So it's sad to see that you wouldn't do that, that you would keep circulating the same beliefs that other people put onto you, which have been ruining your life so far. I'd invite you to just consider that and just think, there's no one stopping you right now from just feeling better about yourself. How much money you're making, it does correlate exactly to your perception of how much you think you can make. So write the number down then. How much are you worth? What's the maximum limit that you're not going to allow yourself to make above? And be honest, because some of you motherfuckers will write a massive number right now and you don't mean it. For a lot of you, I think it'd be maybe a few thousand, and that's when you'd start getting like jittery and like weird. Be totally honest. It's kind of embarrassing to think about this. Okay, what is like the maximum amount that I think that I'm worth? And past this number, I'm actually going to stop myself from making. Almost like feels weird to write that down and to think about it, but this is what you're doing. And this belief is the same with everything. With the girl you can attract, you don't believe you can attract the 10, your 10. You believe that you are, like you can attract, let's say, the 3 or the 4 out of 10 girl. And so that's exactly who you'll get, because you'll act all jittery and weird around the girl that you're actually attracted to. Because you literally think that she's too high up. And how does that serve you in any way? Now, 100% we want to have the humility, the self-improvement mindset always, forever and always. So it's not like by us thinking, okay, we're worth a higher price or we could get the more attractive girl that we're not going to go and do the self-improvement things. We're always going to do them. You wouldn't be here if you probably weren't on this like lifelong journey of improvement, of progression, right? So you're going to be still focused on growth. But it doesn't serve you at all to be there, let's say, in the gym next to the attractive girl and to subconsciously allow that thought that she's above you, that she's too pretty for you, that now you're not even going to either look towards her or you're going to like autistically look towards her, call it a testosterone boost. And then your eyes are going to fleet away, like you're going to look away. You can't even hold your majesty's eye contact. So as you do that with a girl, that's the exact same thing that you do with money, a certain amount of money. There's a certain amount of money, which for you, it might not be that high, where you'll act like that little chump, like the little simp, and you'll look away from her eye contact. So what is it? Just because of those childhood experiences you went through? Because of those beliefs that like, what was her name? Little Sarah, when you were 5 years old and she said she didn't want to play with you, and you're still thinking like your subconscious and your trauma is still holding on to that? That you're letting little Sarah, little fucking bitch, bro, like still ruining your life. Little 5-year-old. Or even, it gets worse, like what your parents said to you. That one comment your mother said to you once when you were like 5 years old and she was stressed and she said, oh God, can't you do anything right? And you're still holding on to that right now, right? And someone said, oh, I hate people. Like, the thing is, you can hate other people for this, but this is your responsibility. People say nasty shit. Get over it. Why don't you say the better stuff about, like, I'm not going to allow you to be a pussy here. Like, say nicer things to yourself then. Nothing's stopping you. People will always say things. People will always try and perturb you. This is like, masculinity is just us inside of our own mind of consciousness of just, okay, stillness. This is who we are. And the rest of the world is the feminine energy. It just moves. Not only our own thoughts and our emotions, but literally the rest of the world. How do you act? Type in the chat, how do you act to a woman who's being very emotional and she's complaining or she's angry at you? Do you start thinking, oh man, I hate her. Yeah, like, oh yeah, she's so weird. Masculinity it's not about this bullshit that you're looking at online. It's about this skillness. It's about thinking, okay, if I love this woman, then I will love her 24/7, even when she's threatening me with a knife, even when she's sad and depressed, which is pissing me off, but I am there just in pure love because that was the decision that I have made. That's pure masculinity. It's a hard level to get to. So if that's what we're rooting for when it comes to our relationships, you must understand that like feminine energy is not just women. It's literally like the entire world is just feminine energy. Everything that happens around us, everything that is changing is the feminine. Your capacity, like your test of manhood, is just being unchanged. Now, we don't blame you when you were 5 years old and someone said something mean and you went ultimate Shiva masculinity, fair enough. But now that you're actually enlightened and you understand this, are you still willing to allow this to change you? Someone said something about you. Old memory pops up. Emotions coming up, arising from your body. Why don't view those things like the emotion, just like you would a woman? How about the thoughts that enter into your brain? Anyone feel like the thoughts in their brain are like their bully, their worst best friend? kind of like it reminds you of your parents, or maybe the kid in school that was horrible to you, the teacher. You know, that's not actually you in there. You know, that's the same part of the feminine energy that you're supposed to just remain still at. But when you're fighting against it, and you're fighting against the real world, you're fighting against the thoughts in your mind, then you're not very masculine. Of course, I don't blame you, because no one actually spoke about this stuff, so we never even had the awareness of what masculinity was. But now you know. I really think making money goes a lot deeper than the real world things. The sales website, the conversion rate, even the offer, whatever. I think a lot of it, the most interesting parts, comes to your psychology. The first, and I believe the only sales book I've ever read, is The Psychology of Sales by Brian Tracy. If you're interested in what I've been talking about for the last few minutes, you might want to go and read that, even if you're not going to get into like sales. The Psychology of Sales by Brian Tracy. And Brian Tracy talks a lot about the self-concept, essentially our beliefs about ourselves, what kind of level we think we are. And I think he grew up in like the 1800s or early 1900s. And he mentioned this story that always stuck with me, where he said, he told the story of the $5,000 a year salesman. This was a long time ago, with you'd make 5K a year, but let's say, okay, 50K. The $50,000 a year salesman, where when this salesman was given like a worse region to go and sell to, or when he was sick, he'd make 50K. When he was far below 50K, but it was almost the end of the year, out of nowhere, he'd pull through and he'd make about 50K again. When he was given a really good region, so imagine he's like a door-to-door salesman and they've sent him to like the rich part of town. How much did he make? About 50K. He thought of himself as a 50,000 a year salesman. You see, everyone has this range of how much money is acceptable for them to make. It'd be valuable for you to think what your range is right now, because you won't make above it. And if you do by accident, let's say if you win the lottery, you will stumble it. You will lose it somehow because you don't think you're at that level. Doesn't sound very wholesome, but success comes to extremely arrogant and egotistical people. I believe most successful people are extremely egotistical, arrogant, and dissatisfied with their lives. If you imagine right now, let me show you some pictures. You know, you see those videos of like, I don't know, Nobel, what are they called? Nobel Peace Prize, or like the celebrity ones. What's that big event called where like celebrities will all go? It's like once a Oscars. Yeah, that says it. Yeah. You see, when you are in the absolute top 0.00001% of society, and you use like children's blood as stem cells, which isn't an exaggeration. These people literally will get like blood infusions, stem cells and everything, right? Because they're very high level, right? Here they are appeasing you, the peasants. They've won because they are extremely egotistical, because they have extreme dark thoughts in their mind. That if you walk past these kinds of men and you have an attractive girlfriend, they will actually like smile at the thought of absolutely like pounding her and you crying about it. This is what it takes to get, and whether they are like, you know, bad, immoral men or not, they have the desire inside of them. But to make the peasants happy when they are achieving the success, They know that to obtain more success, if they pretend to be humble and say, oh, I just want to thank everyone else, I couldn't have done it without you, they don't actually believe that. Because to get to this level, it's the sheer self-belief. It's like this dark level of thinking that for many of us will seem way too far, and probably is. But in this modern world, like, they'll look at you and tell you, oh, I couldn't have done it without you guys. Yeah, you're also amazing. Just because they know that will actually get them more success. Can you see how success driven they are? That even when they're collecting the award, they're acting in the way that would obtain them even more success. Because if they just came on here and said, yeah, I'm so great, I knew that this was all going to happen, they'd be liked less. You can tell why, right? The modern world doesn't reward that kind of personality. So they hide it inside of them. So this is my advice to you, which you may not have ever heard of before, but I'm absolutely certain that all of the successful people have this. Don't be an immoral person. Don't be like an evil person. But you do certainly have some of those hugely egotistical and arrogant thoughts and beliefs in your mind. They can be harnessed to take you to great levels. Hamosi said this once. He said that for success to happen, you need 3 things. From what I remember, they were ego, which was specifically, Hamosi said, was a superiority complex. That literally means a superiority complex means you specifically think you are better than other people. That you deserve more than them, that other people deserve less than you. Think about that level of thinking. The second is insecurity. I didn't like the word he used, insecurity, because I don't believe his definition of insecurity was the right one here, in my opinion. I'd change this to dissatisfaction. You are dissatisfied with your current level of life. You see, someone else intelligent said this. Success comes from dissatisfaction with your current state, because you will keep driving. You see, most people will only meet their needs and maybe a little bit more, and then they'll stop around there, right? The average person stops roughly about here. They go above like that level, then they go below it, then they go above. Most people spend their lives here, right? The successful people cross this, they get to this huge height over here, and guess what? They still feel dissatisfied with life. They don't stop here and, okay, this is a good level to stop. In first man's terms, they don't stick at this level. They constantly think the current level is not good enough because, of course, they've got the superiority complex. Constantly dissatisfied. This is why sometimes it can seem odd when you look over to a rich guy who seems to have it all. Like, why is he still doing it? Constantly dissatisfied. Yeah, like Leon just said. You can see this clearly with the guys online right now, like all the men's influencers. You have to be this level of sort of insecurity about like, yep, still not enough, still not enough, still not enough, dissatisfied with where you currently are. Nobody wants to hear this because it sounds so much better if you get given wholesome advice. But this is genuinely what it takes to get successful in this material world. All because of Sarah. And the final thing you need to become successful: impulse control, willpower, discipline, ability to work. So we can even change this to self-improvements. I think impulse control is a very strong word for this. These are the 3 things you need to get material success. Very important. This isn't going to bring you happiness, and in fact, it's actually the exact opposite of happiness. This is why a lot of these guys, you've seen them, Tate and Eman, they are very vocal with like not being happy and saying like, oh yeah, but I'm a masculine guy, and it's to retire my family. It's like, you retired your family like 10 years ago, so I'm not too sure it's still about that. It's just because of the craving of the materialism. This is your roadmap to material success. You know what's quite painful? If you want spiritual success, spiritual freedom, it's the exact opposite. It's literally get rid of all of that. So which one do you want? You want the height of male, like masculine life, which is ego death? You want to feel ultimate purpose, which apparently will make you 100% present, which sounds fucking awesome to me. That's a whole separate topic. But yeah, it's just something I find interesting. If this is something you want to write down, the 3 things of success, there is ego, or we'll call it superiority complex. So that makes it a bit more complex. Then we've got dissatisfaction, and we've got impulse control. You need all 3. You need all 3, and you need to maintain all 3. So, for example, the athlete who has all 3, you know, he's there right now, and he's pissed off that he thinks he's better than the other person, but he's on the bench right now, and he's pissed off at like the current position or whatever level he is in athletics, and he's training all day. Eventually, when that guy becomes like a world famous basketballer, eventually his impulse control slacks, and he loses all of it because he ends up getting some random girl pregnant, and he spends too much money and everything. Superiority complex, it just means that you think you're better than other people. So specifically, like, you perceive yourself that you are better, that you are more valuable, that you're smarter than other people, that you deserve more than other people. Maybe if you search up these 3 terms, maybe you'll find it on Hamosi's, one of his videos. I found it super interesting when he said that. So as a last leaving point, if you can find a way to harness these 3 things without it destroying your soul, as I believe I have done, where in a weird way, it's like you can use those egotistical things to get you to the point that you've achieved financial freedom so that you can then start to pursue your purpose without any kind of locks, which then will destroy your ego. You can see that I do believe I'm extremely intelligent in the way that I monetize, because that should say kill, but because I used the material world to achieve my purpose. Your purpose is spiritual, but I've used like this to essentially fast track my purpose, because now I can afford all of like the financial freedom, money things that are needed. I can get a teacher in every area. And I wasn't expecting to actually come to this part of the lesson. I wasn't planning this, but this actually brings us perfectly. So this is my last lecture of this topic on money. And then now I'm going to go spend a little while, if you're interested in my own personal life, I'm going to go spend a little while right now figuring out the next step of my life. My money purpose layer is done. I'm going to work probably about 1 or 2 days a week from now on. That's what my plan is. Things might change. I always have to say this. It's like, I can seem like I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'll go move to Thailand, get ready to be an MMA fighter. And then I'll realize, oh yeah, shit, like it was just a false start. But yeah, I'm just going to take a little while to think about my life. And I do believe the next layer is about freeing my body. So I'm going to be moving probably in a few days. I'm just going to go do a little trial location, like a 1 week little trial doing yoga full time. It's somewhere in the UK. And then if it feels like yoga is absolutely the right thing, then I think I'm going to go move somewhere where I can do that full time. Maybe I'm kind of liking the idea of Bali, so we'll just see. I've got a lot of fear involved, just because I've been to Thailand 3 times and I regretted it all 3 times, because I just felt like I was just wasting time. I left all 3 times kind of annoyed because my sort of business went down, my success went down. But I think that was because I went there with the perception that, my sort of purpose layer at the time was to make more money. And so it's not the right place to do that. So that's the fear. It's like, previously it was the wrong decision, but I kind of can see it being the right one right now. It's not so much that I do so much yoga, David. It's just that I think it is in terms of like freeing your body, it's something I can imagine that 80-year-old me would be very glad that I did. It's something that is there, like, intrinsically. Like, I'm not doing it to try and impress anyone. I'm not doing it to try and get likes or anything. It's just like, I fucking hate how stiff and like weird my body is. I'm very strong. I'm very fit. I can sprint. I can jump. I can climb ropes and everything. But my knees hurts a little bit when I go downstairs now. Like, how fucked is that? I'm a fighting age man, and my knees hurt, and they click as well. Let me know if you can hear this, right? Nah, stop there. Did you get that? Oh, it didn't pick up in the mic, but yeah. So I'm sick of that. So that's what I'm thinking. Yoga would be good. Maybe I'll end up doing like physio or something, but I can imagine yoga is like the kind of discipline that I could continue for the rest of my life with enjoyment. So that's the way I'm going. So look out for my update post on Adonis School. I'll let you know what my plans are. I'll let you know if I'm going to create like a schedule for myself, or what my timetable, what my calendar is going to look like. And I'll keep you updated. W in the chat, boys. And the money video comes out in like an hour. So if you want to go and study that, it's on the same topics that we've covered in the same structure, but there's some things I've said in there which I've not said before, and it's more of like a step-by-step plan. So if you haven't already taken all the actionable steps that we've covered, like you've made the massive problems list and everything, it'd be valuable to watch the money guide. And inside of it, I've also made some templates on Notion that you can use to just help you speed up as well. W in the chat, boys. And thank you for listening. Take care, boys. Mwah.